Okay, cool. Elijah Reed, you know, you about to be on Doom Patrol. I'm about to just get into that because I know
Mhm.
that has to be a dream come true if you're a sci-fi nerd like me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It has been a wonderful time. It was a wonderful time to go out there in Atlanta and be in such a crazy, kooky, wacky world. Because yeah, I'm a huge comic buff as well. Spider-Man's my main character, but being able to step into this DC um, gritty but funny and then just fantastical and magical world has been something I didn't know I needed to experience.
Nice, I love that. Especially DC is so different from you know, the MC universe because
Mhm.
it is gritty, it's darker, it's
Right.
like it's not the same type of heartfelt like we're fighting for a cause. It's like you never know what's going to happen. Your character could be there today, die tomorrow, and it could be the good guy, bad guy. It's like
Mhm.
DC is so blurred. There's no real
Yeah.
like good or bad unless it's Superman, basically.
Exactly, exactly, and that's kind of the even to touch back on it. The beauty of like a Doom Patrol is the fact that it's super blurred. Like these characters have their reasons for why they're doing, but at the
Mhm.
same time, like life, some complications come in. You could have a clear color on what it is, but soon enough, it all kind of becomes gray. Like
That
it's
is
yeah, it's
definitely
right in the
true.
middle. Mm.
With your character, tell us a little bit more about your character and how do
Mm.
you even prepare for this character? Were there any similarities? I know, especially because he's very technical, scientific.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, so I play Deric Hayes, and he is the best friend of Vic Stone, aka Cyborg, and mainly just to prepare for it outside of just the normal, just prep it, and like that's kind of like me doing my research of like what's life like in Detroit, kind of like the idiosyncrasies that go on within like different people of that community, and just trying to find similarities within myself, and then how I could try to create this other person that more or less is living a life that I have not lived. Outside of that, I am pretty somewhat techie. I'm kind of in the middle because I was born in '94, so I most definitely know what life was with dial-up, and I know what it's like with a smartphone. So it's weird. It's like I'm two halves, inside this one body. But then outside of that, I got to give credit where credit is due. My tremendous, wonderful castmate, Joivan Wade, we just worked it. We just rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. And he opened his house and home to me and was able to create just a wonderful environment. So once I stepped in, I felt like I had been there for 4 seasons.
nice. I love
Mhm.
that. How was that being you know, stepping on onto the platform with all these people, right? That's
Mhm.
it's already 4 seasons. You know, there's this kind of like this pressure you feel because it's like when something's new,
Right.
we'll figure it out together. But it's like being a new kid at the 11th grade and not at ninth grade.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ironically, I from college, my sophomore year, I was in Washington. I transferred to Loyola Marymount University where I graduated. So I kind of got that feeling of coming into an environment where things were already established. And in the same vein, again, I give credit to Javan. He really allowed me to relax because I was, you have it. You have the jitters, you got the excitement, however you want to describe it. I very much was ready. Like, all right, I'm on the go. I'm not going to drop the ball. I'm just going to, the second y'all give me something, I'm ready to do it. But at the same time, I met with him and in many ways, without him explicitly telling me, it was kind of like, hey, relax. You're here. You got it. You're working with me. We got this. But yeah, 100%. It was funky for a second, and especially because I watched the whole season. I mean, all 3 seasons during my time there. So it was very surreal to watch the show and then see like, oh shoot, that's Robot Man. Oh, that's Larry. Oh, that's Crazy Jane. And then getting to meet the people behind the characters. It's like, oh right, that's Riley. That's Matt. That's Diane. That's April. That's Mickey G. That's all these wonderful, wonderful people. So that also helped to just allow myself to kind of just balance out. Because yeah, I'm pretty energetic in general. But yeah, once you kind of find your points where we all can relate or you relate with everybody else, then it's kind of like, okay, cool. I'm here, you're here. Just like even right now.
Yeah.
We both comic guys. So it's like, okay, I feel more in my element, if you will.
Nice. I love people to learn from everyone's experience, right? So when
Mhm.
and you're and I don't want to say fairly new, but you've got some really good headway starting just looking at maybe you just got in the game around like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I had looked back to it and I was like, wow. Like because I've been acting for a long time, but to from a television standpoint, I was like, wow, I'm only 4 years in the game.
Yeah.
That's a baby.
And it
Like
almost
this
feels
is a
as if that's
baby.
their time stamp. Like we all go to IMDb, but I go for research purposes, so I know I have something to talk to you about
Right.
outside of everything else, just to see if there's any more jewels. But with that being said, so early, and you said something really great earlier, right? That Joivan told you just chill out, calm down.
Yeah.
Why is it important for new actors or actors who haven't had their moment yet, like you are having, to really get on set and calm down? Don't be energetic,
Mhm.
be all of those things, but really calm down and let the role happen and not try to make sure you're hitting the marks, hitting this,
Mhm.
So can you explain like what happens when you're trying so hard or when you're when you're too focused?
It's kind of like you can't see everything else around you because you're too focused on what's in front of you. So, if you are consistently trying to like grip something that realistically, if you just relax, you could gather more, almost like gripping sand. You try to grip it, everything falls out. But if you just relax and you cup it, a lot of it stays. And in the same vein, trying to force something that is not, it's not like logical, especially in the arts. It's a lot more about being relaxed and free and allowing things to happen, especially as an actor, because we're supposed to be as open and available as possible and be more or less sensitive. So with that being the case, if I'm trying to force a thing, then that means I have an agenda. That means that I am trying to dictate what this is going to be outside of it being a collaborative experience where we all can really make our imprint, because that's really what we're doing. So yeah, I would say you just want to give it time, because also, you just keep hitting it or pressing that gas all the time, like you're gonna burn out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can tell you, yeah, I've burnt out quite a few times because I come from sports, so I'm used to the idea of, okay, if I do, I play basketball, so okay, if I do between the legs, behind the back, shoot 5,000 times over a certain amount of time, I should get it. But
Yeah.
acting is not like that. It doesn't matter. Like I will get better at my job, but that doesn't always mean that's going to translate into more roles, because at the
Yeah.
same time, like roles kind of find you. And that's the biggest thing that I started to relax into, is that continue to just focus on the work, and the roles are going to find you. And then if anything, try yourself. You try at like penning, pen yourself a role, or like give yourself some, and then just get out there and then like plant your seeds and then leave it alone. Plant it, let it grow, see what's at the harvest.
I love what you said a little when you said about thinking that okay, I was good in here, I'm going to be good at that, right? Another
Mhm.
teacher told me that's what his mom was one of the things that he took away from it. And he said his mom said just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be good at all things.
Yep.
So you have to definitely, especially because they come from sports as well too.
Mhm.
And I think the thing about sports too, every actor or actress I've spoken with that comes from any type of sports background, especially football, basketball, or track and field. One
Mhm.
thing is you all know how to leave it on the field. You all know how to leave it on the stage because it's this
Yeah.
thing where it's like you get the feedback and you come back better, you
Right.
know. And a lot of times people have that issue because they take it personal, but in sports you can't take anything personal because you're either
Mhm.
good or you're not.
Yep.
Elijah
Exactly.
either made it or he did there. You can't say, "Well, I'm just having hard life at home right
Nah.
now." It's like doesn't matter to us.
Yeah. I mean, you hit it on the head. That's what my coaches would tell me. They'd say, if you're in these four lines, everything that's outside of that, leave it there. Once you're in here, this is all you focus on. And then once it's done, then you step off, you can step back into that stuff. So yeah, there is no, oh, well, he is like, listen, if I made a bucket, I got a bucket. If I didn't, I didn't. It don't matter if something, because no one else is going to care, a ref's not going to care. And simultaneously, I try to think about that in a way, is to, yeah, unless it's very serious, then yes, express yourself and say, hey, I'm just not feeling it. I need help. I think that's the biggest. The other thing is like saying, I need help. Like, yo, I might not have it today. Like, please, I need help. Like, can we just find a way so we all can make this work?
No, I love that. And I think one thing is we see these horror stories sometimes, or we see these movies where there's that one actor, like you said, Javon told you, calm down. You know, some people
Mhm.
have the opposite where you have that one person, and in hindsight, before you get there, you're like, oh, these people are just, so stuck up about this role, right? Like they're
Mhm.
like, Elijah, get your lines, but they're not doing it because Michael Cox should be the best one because they're so seasoned. They know that you're a part of the chain of the entire
Mhm.
structure. So you need to
Exactly.
be good. I need to be good. So nothing slows down because it's an ensemble at the end of the day. And you come from an acting background already. So
Mhm.
what's the difference between what you were doing prior to television? Your origin
Uh,
story.
in Florida, huh?
Your origin story.
Oh, the difference between what I was doing then and now. Oh, sorry, apologies. My dog just popped up. Hey, little dude. There we go. Had to get this off. I'd say the difference, the difference in what I was doing before to what I'm doing now is honestly it's a bigger test on how bad do you want it and perseverance. Honestly, because back then, I'm from Los Angeles, and my mom enrolled me at Cal State LA, the University of Cal State LA Art Institute. So I got to, because I was identified when I was in middle school or something, to be kind of like gifted in acting and things of that nature. So I got to go to a conservatory, and kind of being in that for a while and then simultaneously playing sports. I got to have the best of both worlds, but I also was able to do theater and different things throughout my studies that allowed me to stay in it. So it kind of kept feeding the desire to continue to go. But then once I got into more or less becoming a professional at this, it became more of cool. All the stuff that you did was great, but not everybody here is great. And a lot of people have stepped into this earlier than you, and they've been putting their dues in. You're new. Now, granted, there are other stories where people get in and they just take off, and that's wonderful and beautiful. But for the rest of everybody else, like, it's about you get in there. Sometimes you get that reality check of like, man, I got 10 auditions and like I got nothing. Like I was doing plays back then. I at least get a call back. But now no one's even like I'm going off like a Doritos commercial. It's like I eat Doritos all the time. How am I not what are they not seeing? Like what am I not doing? And that's the thing as well, is you start you start having those internal conversations and you start thinking like, what is it I'm not doing or whatever. Um, and realistically, I started to find that it wasn't that, you just had to continue to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, just delving more from like a theatrical standpoint, doing like theater, it's a lot more visceral because I'm with an audience. I also do like improv right now. So I'm with like a troupe. I got a show tonight, which is going to be fun. But like to do that, like I get to feel people's energy. I get to know instantly if it's good or if it's bad.
Mhm.
Whereas with television and film, it's a lot of other things that are going on because there's so many pieces to make the thing happen, whether it's lighting, camera, art, set design, director, they're all doing stuff. So what you have to do as an actor is very much maintain what you have in terms of your performance and how you feel, and then be ready to go once they say go, because everyone else has done their thing. You've been waiting, and it does kind of suck in that sense of, man, I wish I could be on the set and to work around. It's like, nah, you might have 5 minutes to do that, or you got to do it right now. But that's why people get paid as much as they do. This is why they're professionals. This is why they work a lot. It's people that are able to, on a dime, if you will, say like, okay, let's go. So yeah, I think I'd say have been the biggest differences, honestly.
Nice. I love that. It also sounds as if that's where it's different, definitely where sports doesn't get you ready for the acting world. Because in
Hmm.
sports, if Elijah's good, Elijah's good. If I need
Hmm.
somebody who's going to be the best running back, if I need somebody who's going to get the 3 pointers, there's everyone fits a thing. You know how they say a thing is a thing. Everyone's
Right.
on a shelf when it comes to sports. But in acting, they can find 10 more people that look like you. And if they want a Danny Glover look-alike on Atlanta, but now there could be something different now. It could be the
Hmm.
boy. There's like, I feel like the acting world takes away all that control that we definitely want to have as a person.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. They're most definitely, which goes back to what I was saying, is like you can't force this.
Yeah.
You can't. And simultaneously, though there may be 10 other individuals that look like me, they're not me. And the more clear that we're able to become in who we are or our image, and understanding exactly like who we are as ourselves and what we bring to the table is thus what allows us to transcend the you might look like me and he might look like me, but the second I read this, almost like music, is like I'm gonna play it a certain way. And the clearer that I know how I play my music is allowing me to separate myself and really make something that's a lot more clear than just, a couple notes here and there that everyone hears every day.
Nice. I love that because you use music as an analogy. I use food as an analogy. It's like somebody bringing mac and cheese to the cookout, and you're like, oh, it ain't gonna be the same one.
Amen. Yeah, and food, because it's an art to making a good mac and cheese.
Yeah.
No offense to people. Everybody to each their own. I get it, but I ain't gonna lie. There's some mac and cheeses that is great, and others maybe stay in the oven a little bit longer. But it's okay. Like it's okay. I try them all.
Nice. I want to be conscious of your time. As an artist, as a creative, you do several different things. What do you want your lasting impact from a creative standpoint, not just in the industry, but also in the community? I think it's like, we talk about the entertainment as an industry, yes, as a business, but those like yourselves who literally see it as a community, an ecosystem of creatives, impacting others, making people laugh, cry, inspiring, So what does that look like for you?
Ah, man, that's fun. I honestly, the impact I'd like to leave more than anything is like warmth. I was saying this yesterday with one of my groups. It's just like warmth in the sense of like when you think of me or you see my art, like it makes you feel warm, because there's a lot of things in this world that try to dim your light or make you more or less cold. And it's like I want people to feel warm, because then warm can heat up and get energized, and also just be inspired, like to see the things that I do, as in the totality of my career. I don't exactly know what it's going to look like, but based on what I would hope and what I'm working towards to make it happen, I want the impact to also be that people see it's limitless. It's like, man, he did this and he did this. I can fit this box, but through hard work, dedication, and believing in myself, I can fit in that box and this box, and I'm gonna flip around and put my money together with other people and create a project that then is able to help others. That's the biggest thing. I think I want my impact from my work and everything else that I do is that people feel the sense or are instilled with paying it forward. I think that's my biggest thing. I think it was Denzel who talked about it, and I'll leave it at this. He was saying that the success that you could have as an individual is only so much, but like you should really measure the success of a person based on how they're able to make other people successful. Like if you could just make yourself a star, that's great. But if you could make other people stars, it's like, man, you must really got something. And don't get me wrong, both things are an amazing feat. But again, it's like if you're someone that is able to say, hey, how you doing, Michael? You know what? If you do this and this, you'll be good. And then you do it and you're like, yo, my entire life is different. And I could do that for someone else and someone else and someone else, or put them in the right positions with the people. And then their lives, after that, it's all on you. So yeah, I think that would be my biggest thing, is to instill that of like paying it forward, honestly.
Nice. I love that. Last question before we go. What advice do you want to give to someone who's having such a hard time? We talked about some people step into this, and I remember an old friend of mine. She's a casting director, and she said, "You know what? You have people who step into LA day one and day two. They're working." She said, "You have people who stepped into LA 30 years ago, and they're still in an efficiency studio eating top ramen."
Yeah.
So what would you say is something you would give to anyone that just feels like either they put in their time, they're still not seeing any headway, or that they got somewhere but not really there, and it just seems like, man, this is I just don't get it.
I think the first part kind of goes back to one of the things I had said before, is giving yourself outside of grace, knowing when to like ease off. Again, like we were talking about, if you're consistently getting at it and it's like, yo, I'm going, you're gonna burn out. and to also, what is it? I think it's comparison is the thief of joy. I think that's a big thing too. Like we're talking about, your journey, your lane, your story is yours. As much as I could look at it and hope that, man, I want to be like Michael, I want to have that success. Man, he got here 2 years ago and he's already doing this, this, and that, and I'm still, that's okay. I also start to think to myself, is like, well, that just means my story is going to be, richer in its own way, just like yours is. And more or less, it's a very interesting mental game that you have to play with this, because honestly, that's really a lot of this is. Like, before you even get to the acting, it's so mental. Like, I also try to do things of, well, if it's not acting, then like I said, I go at writing, or I'll take a comedy class, or I'll do a movement class, or I go box, or I go work out. Like, I've been told by many teachers that have been in this for a long time and have various levels of success in their lives and their careers. And the biggest thing that we've always kind of talked about is you got to be able to find other things outside of the acting, because once you go outside of the acting, you'll bring in so many other things to bring to your art and your craft, and it'll be so much richer. And then at the same time, it'll allow you to be sane. I think even my teacher had said, if you're not in class, you should be on set. And if you're not in both, try to be in therapy.
I love that.
His name is Joshua Baton. He has an acting class, Meisner. I swear by it. He is a great man, great talent. But yeah, that was another thing, and again, like, ask for help. Like, it's okay, because this journey is not easy. It's really not. Everything that I've had right now, in January of this year, I did not have all this. I wasn't talking to you in January. All these things that are happening have just kind of, like you said, it's just coming. It's coming. It's coming. And I'm just trying to be as present as possible. That's the other thing. Be present. Be present in where you are. Be present in the things that are around you. And again, we can look so far ahead that we're not focused on the things that are in front of us. To be able to wake up, to be able to get, and again, it sounds cliche, but at the same time, it's cliche, but nonetheless, these things are true. As long as we're waking up and we can get out there and try at our dream again and again and again. There are so many people that have gotten off the bus and have found other lives and have lived great lives, which is wonderful. But if this is what you want to do, that's the biggest thing that I'd say, is like understanding that it's going to take the amount of time it's going to take for you to get the success that, you are reaching for. And that amount of time is subjective. It's going to be, to every person, different. So yeah, I know that was kind of a lot, but
Oh no, it's good. It's good. It's good. That's how it's like the pastor, the pastor say it's a little lengthy because somebody have to hear it.
Yeah.
So perfect. No, thank you so much, Elijah. This has been great. I've enjoyed myself, and I always want to make sure the other person enjoyed themselves as well.
Oh man, yeah, this has been a good old time. Like I've had, like, it's almost like it's a small, like a family reunion.
Yeah.
Real nice.